Well, it is the 28th day of August 2024. Good evening and welcome to the broadcast tonight. My name is Ammy Adika and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Now, starting us off, as the 2010 Constitution marks 14 years, leaders from across the nation gathered to voice their concerns about the government's commitment to upholding the constitutional values. Now, former Vice President and Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka stressed the importance of protecting and defending the Constitution while addressing pressing issues like police brutality during the recent Gen Z protest and the urgent need for proper funding in higher education, as Lowell Mason reports.
Right? A day after the 14th anniversary of the 2010 Constitution, Azimio leaders gathered to voice their concerns about the government's commitment to upholding constitutional values. Former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka emphasized the need for Kenyans to protect and defend the Constitution, specifically addressing the alarming rise in police brutality during the Gen Z protest and the critical need for better funding in higher education.
We must stand strong. And I want to give my pledge that the opposition, working together with the Gen Zs, the millennials, their parents, will work as a team to make sure that there will be no derogation of our basic rights under this Constitution. And nobody will be allowed to get away with it. It's not possible. This is a new country. It's a new country. The Gen Zs are able, I think with assistance sometimes of artificial intelligence, to even go into your bank accounts and find out how much you have stolen. They are able to fight corruption in real time. And so let us keep at it. Without let or hindrance, this will be the order. This is the new Kenya.
Former Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa voiced his criticism of the government, accusing it of ignoring the people's will since coming into power.
There is no tyranny that is greater than the tyranny of bad laws. The 2023 Finance Bill was a bad law. The 2024 Finance Bill was even a worse law. This because of a system that is tone deaf, that is arrogant, that is brutal, refused to listen to its citizens. Article 10 of our Constitution, the Constitution we celebrate 14 years later, requires that citizens be allowed to participate in important decisions that concern them in their counties and in their country. That requirement of public participation is not a favor from the state.
On his end, Member of Parliament Babu Owino underscored the importance of safeguarding the Constitution, particularly the rights and safety of all Kenyans. He also urged the government to address the flaws in the new higher education funding model.
What is being implemented now? How can you accept such a thing to happen? Because it is catching up with you, it will catch up to your children, it is going to destroy the education system in this nation, and we know the role of education in the growth of an economy. Education provides matter skills in our economy. Look at the health sector, we need education. Look at agriculture, we need education. Look at any field, engineering field, journalism, we need education. Therefore, education is the backbone of this nation. If a nation cannot educate its citizens, that education should just be disbanded.
Secretary General of Jubilee Party Jeremiah Tionyi further expressed his concerns over the lack of electoral reforms, highlighting that the government reluctance to establish a new IEBC commission, which is essential for ensuring fair and transparent elections.
He realized a population that is not educated will be very easy to be manipulated. We had been manipulated for 24 years by Moi. Ruto thinks that he can organize the education system so that he can create another population he can manipulate. Sahau. Sahau. Hapa hakuna hapo, like Mheshimiwa Kalonzo says, #wajiga walikwisha Kenya. That funding model ambayo wameileta ni ubeberu anaturudi. He does not want educated population. He fears you having led the constitution for yourselves. So we want to produce another generation of people wenye hawajasoma ili wachezee vile waliwachezea. If it wasn't for Gen Z, what you did from the 25th of June to date, we will not be seated here today. Tulikuwa tumepelekwa hapa kama baiskeli ya kuibiwa. Kuru, every time. And he has not stopped. I want to tell you my fear of yesterday. On top of what President Kaguta said, I have a feeling that hiyo kitu ya jana, Ruto was launching himself for Nyanza. See, Baba, he was launching himself to go to Nyanza for purposes of winning elections 2027. Raila Amolo Odinga, be very careful.
As the calls to protect the constitutions grow louder, the question remains, will the government hit with these warnings or will the voice of the people be ignored once again? Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, Mason Lowell.
Well, many thanks, Mason Lowell, for the report. From Nairobi, Kenya, we head to the Nyanza region, where President William Ruto has begun his four-day tour in Nyanza region, where he has launched several development projects. Ruto kicked off his tour of the region in Kuria East Sub-County, Migori County, this afternoon, or rather Wednesday afternoon, to unveil the Kegonga Cluster Water Project. The president also launched the Lower Kuja Irrigation Project in Nyatike Sub-County and Ngere Mapera Road in Suna East constituency. Our reporter Dolly Mwirigi Mbuvi with more details.
A day after President William Ruto launched Raila Odinga's AUC chairmanship bid, Ruto has now gained new entry into Raila's Nyanza backyard. President Ruto commenced his highly anticipated four-day development tour of the Nyanza region, covering 4 counties, where he officially launched the Kegonga Cluster Water Project.
Hapa katika mradi huu, serikali ya Kenya tumeweka milioni 250 ya maji yenu hapa. Na hiyo ni awamu ya kwanza. Kuna awamu ya pili, kuna awamu ya tatu, kuna awamu ya 4, mpaka tutumie bilioni 1 kwa watu, maji ya watu wa hapa Kuria East. Na hiyo ni mpango tumeweka kama serikali na nimekuja hapa kuianzisha rasmi.
The water supply project will produce 1.8 litre a day and is expected to benefit more than 14,800 households in Migori County.
Kila Mkuria hakona haki ya kupata maji ya mfereji kwake nyumbani, si ndio? Hivyo kazi itaanza hivi karibuni na in 1 year tutakuwa na maji manyumbani.
However, President Ruto has assured Migori residents on the ongoing construction of markets in agricultural area aimed at facilitating the farmers.
Tumeanzisha soko pale Ntimaru, tayari soko imeanza. Hapa Kegonga tutawajengea soko ingine, mimi nafanya mambo ya procurement. Pale Kehanja Town tutawajengea soko kubwa ya municipality, kwa sababu tumekubaliana na governor wenu pale inahitaji soko kubwa ya municipality. Tumeelewana jameni? Vile vile, mimi nataka tukubaliane na nyinyi. Nyinyi watu wa Kuria ni wakulima sugu, wabidii sana. Na nyinyi mumekuwa shujaa kwa sababu mumetusaidia. Nyinyi ndio mumezalisha chakula kingi. Mumetusaidia mambo ya mahindi, nyinyi mnapanda kahawa, nyinyi mnapanda yale mengine yote. Mimi nimekuja hapa kusema jameni, asanteni sana watu wa Kuria, mumetusaidia kupunguza gharama ya chakula Kenya.
Later in Nyatike, President Ruto rolled out the Lower Kuja Irrigation Project that will irrigate 19,000 acres of land, producing 80,000 tons of rice a year. Dolly Mwirigi Mbuvi for Hope TV.
Well, many thanks, Dolly Mwirigi Mbuvi, for the report. Remember, President William Ruto has embarked on his 4-day tour within Nyanza region just a day after Raila Amolo Odinga was unveiled as Kenya's candidate for AUC chairmanship position. That's quite an interesting one. We also saw the reception was quite different this time round, with governors and also other leaders allied to ODM and the opposition were present during that specific tour. We're waiting to see how that will turn out in Kisumu and other parts within the 4 counties of Nyanza. Now, on matters education, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, has refused to suspend its strike, which began on Monday this week, despite a Labour court order on Tuesday to halt the action. Addressing the media, the union secretary Akelo Misori stated that the strike will continue as planned and teachers are not ready to back down. Misori further stated that they had already agreed, or rather began talks on the return to work formula with Labour CS Alfred Mutua before the TSC moved to court, putting the talks in jeopardy. The High Court on Tuesday suspended the post-primary education teacher strike pending the hearing and determination of a case filed by the Teacher Service Commission, TSC. Justice James Ricard of the Employment and Labour Court Relations in Nairobi issued the orders certifying the petition by the Teacher Service Commission as urgent. Let's listen in to what the KUPPET union, or rather members, had to say.
It is engaging the social partners in bad faith. That's why they moved to court. In fact, they are hinted to us that they cannot go before anybody. But now they are moved to court. That is an adversarial means. They want not to be told why the teachers are on strike. How teachers of this country are the only lot who are stagnating in one job group for over 25 years. Which is a very immoral act by a very irresponsible commission. So we cannot, at this juncture, say that we are ready. They have negated the principles of our 2017-2021 CBA. They don't want anybody to listen to that. One of the things in that CBA is that every school must have a principal. We have over 4,000 principals acting in positions, yet the commission had said, and in the agreement, that they will formally give substantive appointment. We have deputy principals serving on acting capacity, and they don't want to be told. They don't even want to pay them special allowance. They don't want to pay them special duty allowance, even acting allowance. Surely.
Well, still on matters KUPPET strike, the Central Organization of Trade Union, that is KOTU, has urged the Teacher Service Commission, TSC, to negotiate a return to work formula with the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, to end the strike that began on Monday. Now, according to KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli, TSC should stop bullying KUPPET with the court orders and get to talks. Now, Atwoli has further urged the KUPPET not to back down until the government heed all their demands, claiming that the strike is the only way to compel the government into fulfilling their demands.
I'm appealing to TSC to make sure that they are in touch with the KUPPET union today. They sign a return to work formula. Because if they don't do so, eventually there might be victimization for those teachers who had organized the strike and who are leading in making sure that there is a total boycott by teachers to go to schools. So we as KOTU, we want to ask the TSC to humble itself and revert back to the requirement and the tenets of the mandate that the recognition agreement between KUPPET and the TSC's management or as a commission is required to do. One, they are in marriage, and in marriage there is no bullying of one another. They need not to bully KUPPET, they need to humble themselves and sign the agreement on a return to work way. I want to take this opportunity to thank the government, which has positively responded by assuring Kenyans that they will be handling the teachers' demands as it had been then requested by teachers. So the TSC must accept that, and TSC must humble itself, that is Teachers Service Commission, and append their signature on a return to work formula without any delay.
Well, we are all waiting to see whether KUPPET and the government will come to an agreement and make sure that the teachers within the union are able to report back to work as required. Now, away from that, the Anti-Corruption Court in Nairobi has convicted former Samburu County Governor Moses Lenolkulal in an 83 million draft case involving a petroleum tender. Now, Chief Magistrate Thomas Nzioka early on Wednesday ruled that sufficient evidence shows Lenolkulal acted in conflict of interest while in office. The evidence from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, ODPP, demonstrated that Lenolkulal and his proxy, Hesbon Ndathi, were the primary beneficiaries of the misappropriated public funds. Now, the prosecution's case was supported by testimonies from 11 witnesses and 388 documentary exhibits indicating a systematic misuse of public funds. Lenolkulal was charged in 2019 by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission for abuse of office and conflict of interest and found to have used the company, or rather his company, Oryx Service Station, to supply fuel to the county government from the year 2014 to 2019.
Averment number 7, that upon review of the supplied information and the entire evidence, the Director of Public Prosecution found and deemed it necessary to review the decision to charge. This occasion, the oral application meant should be by the applicant on 22nd of October 2022. Yes, an oral application was made. 8, that pursuant to the direction given by this Honorable Court, the Director of Public Prosecution,
fraudulent acquisition of public property, all of them relating to a case where the convict, that is the former governor, traded with the county government of Samburu during his 2 terms as governor. The ruling delivered by the court today has served justice to the people of Samburu. It is a ruling that EACC finds significant in a number of ways. For instance, this is the first corruption case of a criminal nature that has come to its logical conclusion, even despite the attempt that the DPP made earlier during the proceedings to withdraw the case. It is the first corruption case of a criminal nature where the court has found the accused persons guilty.
Well, we shall be taking a short commercial break. Don't go too far, for we shall be back in a couple of minutes to take a look on different issues that continue making headlines in the country, especially matters to do with sports.
To get Wewe ni Mungu by Evelyn Wanjiru as your Skiza tune, SMS the word Skiza 88300028 and send to 811. Hope Skiza, spreading the hope.
This week on Testify.
Very regularly pray for my sister's marriage because both my parents were not there. They had gone to be with the Lord. And as the elder brother, it was my responsibility to ensure that she would settle down and get married. And so I would regularly pray for that. My personal conviction is that if we trust the Lord and wait upon Him, the Bible talks about the steps of a good person being ordered by the Lord. Yes. Psalms 37 and 23. And Romans 12:2, that you will know the good, the perfect, acceptable will of God.
Only on Hope TV. Look and live.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcasts?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Well, welcome back to the broadcast. Following the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit 2024 held in May this year, the African Union Commission held a workshop together with shareholders in East Africa to prepare for implementation of the summit's 10-year action plan aimed at improving fertilizer use, soil health and crop yields. Now, the workshop aimed at building a sustainable and competitive fertilizer production system and sensitizing the importance of soil health to agriculture productivity so as to secure the future of African agriculture, as Ian Githuku reports.
As part of conserving agricultural soil in Africa, the African Union Commission held a workshop together with stakeholders in East Africa to prepare for the implementation of the summit's 10-year action plan aimed at improving fertilizer use, soil health, and crop yields.
The status of the soil health in Africa is very low. The statistics is actually very frightening when you have over 60%, specifically 63% of the current soil we are cropping, they are at different states of degradation. And the degradation we're talking about is physical degradation. Most of the soil, most of the farmers are now cropping the subsoil. The topsoil they should have cropped because of the tillage method is being eroded, okay, because we have torrential rainfall. And so if you don't do appropriate tillage, it's eroded. So you are cropping subsoil with very little nutrients.
Walif Atumbi, Director of Research and Innovation in Agricultural Research in Africa, highlighted the poor state of agricultural soil in Africa. He cited a report stating that more than 60% of African agricultural soil is at different levels of degradation caused by erosion and use of inorganic fertilizers.
There is no way you can optimize productivity of Africa agriculture without external inputs. It will take a bit of time. Maybe in the long run, we can stop external input. But for now, we need to use external input. And the scientific recommendation is you need and necessarily need to apply organic fertilizer, compost, biofertilizer, to increase the humus content of the soil.
In fulfillment of one of the resolutions settled upon following the Africa Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit 2024 held in May, Atumbi spoke on the importance of creating awareness on soil conservation.
We see that farmers keep on plowing their land and they are not returning the nutrients that are being lost out of harvesting. And one of the biggest challenges that we face is maybe even availability of the fertilizers, and that's why the fertilizers are probably too expensive, and that's why the government came up with the fertilizer subsidy program.
According to Dr. David Kamau, who is the Director of Environment and Natural Resources in AFRA, the semi-arid and arid areas of Kenya are the most affected by soil degradation. This, he explained, is as a result of climate change effects that lead to intense rainfall followed by severe drought. He sensitized on the importance of educating Kenyan farmers who have been on the receiving end of poor agricultural output due to poor soil health in the country.
We only can create more awareness onto what needs to be returned back to the soil. Maybe that would be a good thing. The other thing is probably relying maybe on inorganic maybe fertilizers, and that's why if you look at one of the recommendations of the African Fertilizer and Soil Health Summit, it was to maybe integrate organic with inorganic.
For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Ian Geduku.
Well, still on matters agriculture, President William Ruto has called on coffee cooperatives to stop seeking loans from commercial banks and instead borrow from Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund. Speaking in Kuria, the head of state called on farmers under cooperative societies to ensure their leaders are also held accountable in a bid to curb misappropriation of the society's resources. Now, the president also noted that it is time coffee farmers are given priority on matters funding. Coffee Cherry Advance Revolving Fund was established to provide affordable, sustainable and accessible cherry advance to smallholder coffee farmers in the country with land under coffee not exceeding 20 acres.
Tumeweka pesa kwa Coffee Cherry Fund. Hatutaki tena cooperatives ambazo ni za kahawa ati waende wakope pesa kwa mabank, wanalipishwa interest ya 20-25%. Sasa tuko na pesa ya serikali, waende wachukue hiyo pesa, interest ni 3% peke yake. Mimi nataka niwaulize nyinyi watu wa Kuria, hata kama wewe hujui hesabu, kama unapatiwa pesa na 20% na unapatiwa hapa na 3%, wewe utaenda kuchukua gani? Sio unaenda kuchukua ya 3% ama namna gani? Iko haja ya kwenda kuchukua pesa yenye iko na interest kubwa? Tafadhali, mimi nawauliza, na nyinyi members wa cooperative, msiwaachie wale officials waendeshe cooperative kiholela. Hata na nyinyi mko na wajibu wa kuhakikisha ya kwamba pesa zenu zinachungwa.
Well, now on matters security, internal security and national administration principal secretary Dr. Raymond Omolo has called on government officials to consider adopting technology in a bid to improve service delivery to Kenyans. Speaking while officially closing a cloud computing security training for government officers in collaboration with Huawei Kenya, Dr. Omolo is not only stressing on the importance of accessing technology by government officials, but also businesses and organizations globally. Omolo further said that the collaborations aims at improving Kenya's cloud computing security, building on previous trainings on cyber governance. Let's listen in to what the PS had to say on matters security.
I am a beneficiary of the cloud computing training that happened at Huawei. It was an eye-opening experience, and I wish we could have more time on these trainings because I felt the time was little. But we had learned a lot on cloud computing and a bit of cyber security.
Government is heavy on automation, and as we get heavy on automation, we are vulnerable when it comes to the cyberspace. And all these efforts through Huawei are going towards building the right human capacity to be able to take care of the cyberspace.
Government departments and agencies, as from this year when the regulations were adopted, must implement strong cybersecurity measures to protect data, secure communication networks, and defend sensitive information against cyber threats.
Now, Jubilee Insurance, in collaboration with the Grand Nairobi Bike Race, has today announced the launch of the third edition of the Jubilee Live Free Race powered by GNBR. The international premier cycling event on Sunday, 29 September 2024, is set to bring together cyclists from 21 countries, including Ethiopia, Eritrea, USA, France, and the East African community for an intense and adrenaline competition right at the heart of Nairobi City. The event is set to harness the freedom inherent in cycling to raise awareness about practical steps that individuals and the broader community can take for a well-rounded lifestyle. Let's listen in. Now, away from that, Police Bullets FC head coach Beldin Odemba will field a potent squad in the final tomorrow's afternoon. Now, her team is set to face off with Ethiopia's CBE Women's Club after donning Simba Women Club of Tanzania by 3 goals in the semi-finals. Police Bullets had their final training sessions earlier Wednesday ahead of the Sekafa finals that is set to take place at Ethiopia's 25,000-seater capacity Abebe Akila Stadium on Thursday, 29th August 2024.
Tulikuwa winner wa Kenya WPL, ndio tukakuja Ethiopia kucheza Sekafa ya wanawake. So far tumecheza na teams, group stages, tukacheza semi na Simba, tukaqualify for the finals. We are ready to face CBE kutoka huku Ethiopia.
The key to a miracle is that we've learned their strength, and we've worked on it, and we've also learned where their weaknesses are, and we're going to capitalize on that.
Well, we do wish Police Bullets FC all the best as they plan to take on Ethiopia's CBE Women's Club. We do believe that they shall bring victory back home. That's all we had for you tonight. My name is Ammy Adika, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Do have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.